Okay, welcome to the web conference, first webinar of the semester. They will come fast and furious because the semester is so short. This is college algebra. I can't imagine that anyone who would find this would be anyone other than a college algebra student. All right, so what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to, I don't know what your thing is, like what you're seeing from your end. Can you see my screen?
I can only see your face.
Okay, hold on. Let me then switch. I thought I had set it up. Let me see here. Hold on. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Now you're sharing the screen.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Oh, let me get this out of the way. Okay. Okay, so, and what I'll do is, let's see, where are we? Where did that go? Oh, it's up at the top. All right. So, Robin, what I'll do is feel free to chime in when you want to, but when you're not actually asking questions, if you want to mute and just in case there's background noise where you are.
Okay.
And then just unmute yourself anytime you want to jump in and have a question. I'm going to spend about 20 minutes just real quick going through the course, just, so people, in case there's something they're not sure about, they can see that. And then I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. Okay, so this is our course homepage. Oops, let's see. I assume everyone has gotten here. And on this page, you'll see a link to the announcements. There's not announcements on this page, but you can click the link to announcements. On the right-hand side, you have all the stuff the stuff that's immediately due, but it's not everything. Probably the easiest way is either to view the calendar page or the syllabus page. If we click calendar, oh, the to-do is for me. Actually, let me get off this page. Sorry about that. I just realized I want to be in student view so that we see this. We're seeing what you see. There we go. All right, that's better. So you do see the to-do stuff over there on the right, the stuff that's coming up immediately. That's kind of a hard way to look at it, though. You can click the calendar, and that has it in a calendar view, which also might be slightly overwhelming. But so there we see what's due in 2 days, and then Friday, and then next week, and so on. The class will be very fast. As it said, another option is the course stream, which I think is linear. Let's take a look at that. I think the course stream is also available on the syllabus page. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. Okay, let's not do it. The course stream is not how I want to do it. Let's go to syllabus page. Okay, so the syllabus, of course, is at the top. It's got the details for the course. And then here we go. So you can see on this page, it's kind of nice in a linear fashion, everything that's due on Tuesday. And there's a lot, mainly because Module 1 is review. And then Friday, most of the due dates are going to be one module, but there's so many that even we have 6 weeks. And I mean, that's literally from the day 1 to the last day is actually a day less than 6 weeks. So we don't have time. If we're having 2 due dates a week and we've got 13 modules to do, we're going to have a couple, and I can't do the last final due date. We're going to have a couple of times when there's 2 modules due on the same day. And this first time is one of those. So module 1 and module 2, the exercises and quizzes are due on Tuesday in 2 days. All right. So let's go to the modules because that's also where you see everything, not just the assignments. Okay. The student office hours aren't here. They're in the syllabus. So let's see here. We got getting started. That's pretty straightforward. The student introductions is a discussion. Looks like lots of people have gotten that in. I've been reading them. I was out of town over the weekend, and the only internet access I had was on my phone, so I didn't read as many of those as I would like to. I'm going to go back through them tonight and tomorrow. You got your pacing calendar. Let's see here. The general questions forum, student resources. These are things at TCC that can help you out. how to use HonorLock for testing. All testing is on using HonorLock, which is an automated online proctoring service. Your browser is locked down. You have access to a couple sites that I'll tell you about. And your screen is recorded and you are recorded through your webcam. And I heard one student say she has a webcam ordered. So if you do not yet have a webcam, make sure you have a webcam before next week, because the first test requires one. If you are in Tallahassee, you can go to the TCC library and they have computers available with webcams where you can do the testing. But if you're testing at home, which many people do, you need to have access to a webcam, and you need an actual computer, not a mobile device, because it has to have a computer-based Mac or PC, doesn't matter, Windows or Mac, version of Chrome. Okay, so that's very important. And then it jumps into the modules. Every module is the same, starts off with learning outcomes and tasks. So the learning outcomes are what I want you to do. The tasks are what you have to, they're the actual assignments. Then the content is all the stuff that helps you learn the material. It's videos, notes, and textbook links. So some of the videos are, all the ones that say EX are examples that you'll see occasionally. The first one is all examples, but in some of the subsequent lessons, as modules, you'll see ones that are more like lesson videos that teach you the concept. And it's really important to understand some of the concept materials because that really helps you do well. All right, so let's see here. And right after that, you hit the exercises, and you can link to them from the tasks, but it's probably easiest just to link to them from here. I'm not going to do the practice on entering answers. That's pretty straightforward, but I will jump into the solving equations one, just so you see what a homework assignment looks like. And if you've been at TCC, if you've either taken college algebra, if it's on a second attempt, or if you took intermediate algebra, you'll recognize this homework system. It's very familiar. It will be very familiar to you. And so you will solve some equations, put your answers in. Let's see here. See if I can, let's find one that's pretty quick to solve. Those aren't too bad, but let's find one that's, all right, so here's a pretty straightforward, I'll do this one because it's a pretty straightforward quadratic equation. A squared equals negative 13a minus 40. All right, so let me do this one. Hold on. All right. So it was a squared. Oop. Hold on, I was trying to get this to do what I need it to do. I want full screen. There we go. Oh, I don't know why it's doing this. Normally, there it goes. All right, a squared equals negative 13a minus 40. Let me just double check that. Yep. All right, so we bring everything to one side. In a quadratic equation, we almost always bring it to one side, set it equal to 0. Usually so that the a squared term, the squared term is positive. Now we can factor, looking for two numbers that multiply to 40 and add to 13. 8 and 5, or one of our earlier choices. 4 and 10 doesn't work, but 8 and 5 does. So a plus 8, a plus 5 would have be how we factor it. That would be equal to 0. And I got a product that equals 0. So either the first parentheses equals 0, so a would be negative 8 if the first parentheses is 0, or negative 5 if the second one is 0. So I go back here. The computer doesn't care which order you put them in, negative 8, comma, negative 5. Hit enter. And there we go. Got your green check mark. That's always good. But let's say on this problem, you're probably pretty comfortable. But let's say this was another problem where you got it right, but you just feel like you could use a little more practice. Well, you see that button there that says try another similar question. You can click that, and it does exactly what it says. It puts up the same type of question, but with different numbers, okay? All right, so let's say, so like this one is going to be different because this one's going to have a minus 10 after I move everything over. So it's going to be a little bit different type of practicing. But I'm just going to throw two numbers in there. I'm going to do, I know it's going to have to do with 2 and 5. So I'm just going to put 2 and 5, which I know is not the right answer because you've got to have opposite signs. So let's say I do that. And, oh, I got one of them right. So I got half credit. You'll see at the top, 0.5 out of 1. But the important thing to note about that is that says score on last attempt. Just underneath that, it says score in gradebook 1 out of 1. What that means is that even if you reattempt a problem, and even if on that reattempt you get it wrong, if you got it right before, you keep that correct score in the grade book. Your grade doesn't go down. So that's really actually quite important, so that you can practice without penalty. If you once you get a problem right once, you can practice again, and even if you get it wrong, you don't lose that correct credit in the grade book. So that's a really useful thing. All right, but let's say you're struggling on it. Well, you notice there's the purple button there that says video there, and so you can click that, and I'll click it, and you get videos. All these are captioned. They're all done by a guy who works out of Phoenix, Arizona. He works at a community college there. He's a teacher. Very good videos. So that's one option to get help. Another option is you'll see a little link just below. It's not very big, so you might not notice at first, but it says message instructor about this question. And it'll bring in a little thing there, and you notice it says, you have a little box there. It has the question that you just typed. And at the top, you can ask a question about this. I don't want you to just click this and click send. I want you to actually type in a message that might tell me what's the deal with it. Where are you struggling? It could be as much as I really don't have any idea where to start. It could be, I thought I did it right, but I got it wrong. And I can actually even, go into your version of the question and see what your most recent answer was. So a lot of times I like you, unless you're sure now that you know how to do it, to leave it so that I can see what you put, right? But you type in a message, I get a message, I get an email that you messaged me. When I send it back, it doesn't go to your email, but the next time you're in the homework, you'll see a little notification at the top. So let me go back to the assignment. Up here, right where it says messages, you'll see a red 1 with parentheses indicating that I emailed you back. Okay. The other thing to note is there's a little yellow arrow next to the box. That's to help you if you need to type in math. So if you need to do a fraction, I think the answer to this one might be a fraction. You click the fraction button. You got exponent button, subscripts. We don't use subscripts much in this course, but you have radicals, roots that aren't square roots, absolute values, parentheses, all sorts of stuff there. For functions, you got logarithms. We'll use those later. You got trig functions. Don't worry, we won't use those in this class. All right, so that's how you type in math stuff. Also, if you type stuff in, sometimes you might get something that says syntax error. If you get that warning, you are definitely not going to get the problem right. So let's say I thought this was 4/9. And let's say I accidentally hit open parentheses, undefined, it says unmatched parentheses. I'm not going to get that right no matter what else happens. But also, let's do 4.5. It says not a valid fraction. You're not going to get this right. Notice the instructions say give the answer as an integer or a reduced fraction. So if you get some sort of warning off to the right, other than just a preview of your answer, then you did something wrong in the way you entered it, and you're almost certainly not going to get credit. So pay attention to that preview off to the right. Okay. All right, looks like we had another person join us. Let's see who we got here. All right, Cynthia, welcome, Cynthia. You can, if you want to ask a question, you can, if your microphone is working, looks like you joined with your phone, you can use that. You're muted by default, but on your computer, you can unmute yourself. Your computer is tied to your phone. There you go. Looks like you just did. How are you doing tonight, Cynthia?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm great. Good to hear from you. And then what I asked, Robin also joined by audio. What I asked is when you're not directly asking a question, if you can keep yourself muted so we don't get any background noise. You can also use the chat, although I haven't figured out yet how to get an audio message. But chat looks like this. So Leanne told us that her webcam isn't in yet. And Cynthia, when you do the tests, I hope you have in your testing environment, you have a computer that does have a a microphone because we need an audio connection in addition to the video connection for on a lock. Okay?
I do.
Okay, fantastic, great. Okay, so that's the exercises. The other type of assignment is quizzes. All right, and where are we? There we go. So here's the difference between a quiz. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, the difference between a quiz and a homework assignment is that you see here it says this is attempt 1 of 3. It looks the same. All right, so here's some differences. Number one is, I didn't fix that yet. That's okay. Number one is that on the quiz, there is no more videos. So that link is out. Okay. I meant to take out the message instructor, but I'll leave it there. What I want you to treat the quiz more as is treat it almost like it were a test. This is now you've done the homework. Every one of these quiz questions was in the homework. Okay. Every single one of the quiz questions was in the homework. But now you have to do it without that video link, and I kind of want you to try to do them as much as possible without the instructor link too, because for most of my classes I don't have that there. Because I want you to, like I said, all these were in the homework. So go back to the homework, see if you can find that. Treat this as much like a testing environment as possible. The other thing about the quizzes, though, this time you see it says this is attempt 1 of 3. This time when you get to attempt 3, you can't try a similar version. So it's 3. You can call it 3 strikes and you're out. That's kind of negative. But you have 3 opportunities to get the right answer. So if you missed it twice, make sure that you do what you need to do in order to get it right on that 3rd attempt, okay? So that you don't miss it. I do find that the quiz grades, they're not perfect, but the students who do well on quizzes, it's a much better indicator that they're going to do well on tests than the students who only do well on homework and then do poorly on the quizzes. So a student can have all hundreds on their homework, but if they're doing poorly on quizzes, they're probably not going to do well on the tests either. And when I say doing poorly, I mean anything below an 80. If your quiz average is below an 80, that's a red flag. And you need to think about, okay, I'm doing something, there's something else I need to be doing to make sure I'm getting this right. Okay. Most of the quizzes, this first question quiz, I meant to adjust so that it had fewer questions. Most quizzes won't have more than 10. They'll have 5 to 10 questions. And the rest of them, besides these early ones, will be worth 10 points each. Okay, and then let's see here. Then there is, let's close some of these extra tabs. Leave. All right. The other type of assignment, other than, of course, let me mention one other thing about the module reflections. That's just a place for you to think about what you did well on in the module, what you struggled with, and then even to put in some direct questions that you have. It also gives your classmates a chance to perhaps help you out with some questions that you struggled with, or you to help them out. Okay, I mentioned this for the discussions. The final due date. This is not correct. It shouldn't be Sunday and Monday. It should be Monday and Tuesday. The final due date is the same date that the homework for the module is due. Your initial post should be 1 day before that. So the initial post is not required by tonight, and my apologies for that. And the points are backwards too. I got a couple things. I didn't realize these were like that. Looks like a number of people, half the class has already participated, so that's good. Maybe so many people have participated because they think it's due tonight, but it's actually going to be the first post. It's actually going to be due tomorrow night. So if anybody doesn't quite make it tonight, you're still good. All right. And then let's see if we scroll down a little bit, get past module 5. And I'm switching module 5 and unit 1 is actually module 5 and module 6. I'm going to switch, but I'll have that done before people get into module 5. All right, you see the Unit 1 test review, and then the Unit 1 test honor lock. The actual test, you see that's worth 0 points. That actually links to the test in Luminome. But the Unit 1 test review, we'll look at that real quick. That's just another Lumen assignment. And this is different from the homework in that it is in random order. So everybody has these same 43 questions, but they're not all in the same order. It has 4 attempts per question. It should be 3 like the homework, but it's 4. It doesn't really matter. But then you do get to do another attempt after that. So You can think, but what I tell students to do is to treat the test reviews as practice tests. To try and go through them all before one time and see how they do. And that can kind of give them an idea of where they stand before the test starts. Okay, so, all right. I think that's everything in the modules. The last thing is grades. You see that little notification there? That's because I got a question right. The grades update almost in real time. And then the last link on the left-hand side is the Smart Thinking online tutoring. And that is exactly what it says. That's live online tutoring. It's chat-based. It's not audio. It's 24/7. So you click that link. You can ask questions. And they can try to answer your questions that you might have on the homework. All right, that's this course in a nutshell. Tuesdays and Fridays, the homework is due. Let me see. I might actually adjust based on that. Let me see what I want to see what days I said that the webinars are going to be in here. Yeah, Mondays and Thursdays. That's right. Okay, so they're basically, I'm going to have a webinar the night before each homework is due. So although this week, because I'm having a webinar tonight, I'm not doing it tomorrow. I wanted to make sure the webinar was far enough in advance that people, it gave people what they needed. But I will be available I will answer questions. I'll be online and be able to answer questions for people who ask questions. So there's not going to be a webinar tomorrow night. It'll be tonight, this week. But then I will be online Thursday and then Mondays and Thursdays after that. Okay, so at this point, I have said what I want to say. I will let you guys jump in. It looks like we've got the same 4. All right, what you got?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
For Module 11 and Module 10, they're backwards in their due date. So Module 11 is due before Module 10.
The names. I'm going to switch the names.
Okay.
So that'll be more clear. And same thing is supposed to be true. Hopefully nobody's started it the other way yet. The same thing is going to be true. Actually, no. Let me see. I think I already fixed that for modules 5 and 6. I think what I just said I think was wrong. I think module 5 and module 6 are where they're supposed to be. Let me look at that real quick. Yes, they are. Okay, so don't worry about what I said earlier about module 5 and 6, but module 10 and 11, they're both part of the same unit, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, I'm going to reverse modules 10 and modules 11. Okay. So thanks for noting that. Okay.
And then is the final cumulative?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And let's see if I can find, I don't know, I don't remember where the video went. Let's see here. Well, anyways, so yeah, the final is cumulative, and it will. But there's again a pretty exhaustive review for that. All the reviews are exhaustive. There is not a question on a test that is not on the review. So the review is bigger than the test, but everything on the test is on the review. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yep. All right. What else? And Leanne, you're welcome to jump in with a chat. I've just opened my chat box so that if you have a question, you're welcome to. Oh, absolutely. So if at TCC, there's 2 options for you to get help. You can go to the Learning Commons is one. Also, some of our faculty, especially ones teaching college and intermediate algebra, spend time in a room called the Math Hub. That's not open as late. It's mostly daytime hours. So if you're taking this class because you're working during the day, it's not going to help you. But the Math Hub in AC 210 is another option for getting help. Please use that as an option as well. So the Learning Commons and the Math Hub are definitely open. Neither of those require an appointment. So basically, I'll post the hours of those. That's so that you know when those are, both for the Math Hub and for the Learning Commons. So the Math Hub, the benefit of the Math Hub is that it actually has TCC faculty, math professors teaching, that are helping students in there. The Learning Commons has the advantage of it has longer hours. And you can also get maybe a little bit longer one-on-one help with a tutor at the Learning Commons than you can at the Math Hub. At the Math Hub, basically they come and help you when you have specific questions. But at the Learning Commons, I think that you can schedule like a 30-minute session with someone. All right. What else? All right, great. And I'll double check, Leanne, to see how late they're open. It might be something like 7, which will allow you to, to make it. But hopefully they don't close. They don't close early. But I will post that. I'll get that information and post it. All right. Anything else?
I mean, not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Well, and these, feel free to come to these. I can also, if you're struggling with something and you want to schedule, I can do these conferences as on an individual basis as well. So we can schedule something if you have a couple of questions and you're like, hey, it would be helpful. Obviously you can always click the message instructor link, but if you feel like it would be good for you to talk directly, we can schedule one of these. I think it's a little better than a phone call because I can share my screen and can write stuff for you, and we can look at the problem together in a way we couldn't if it was on the phone. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if you want a little help in that way as well. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to the other one because my phone just beeped to me that says some people are already waiting. I guess they just decided to go directly to it. If you don't have any more questions, you don't have to join the part 2. But you're welcome to do that as well. So in just a couple of seconds, this one is going to get shut down and you'll get booted from it, but I will just start the second one directly. All right.